Welcome to the Part in the Fade podcast. On my right
D.
and on my left,
Coach Smith.
and I'm JeVaughn. Today we chopping it up about the differences in your 20s and your 30s. Which one of y'all taking the lead?
You are.
Duh. Let's go with the old ass one. All right,
Why I got to be old ass nigga?
because you the oldest one.
Okay.
You half of 100.
Okay, but he's the same age as me.
No, he's like
close.
43.
43.
Well, okay, then I'll just go ahead and start it off.
What you mean it's not starting? I know how old you are, and we already fuck that.
So
He on
when
crack
I had a little time over the weekend to kind of think about this topic, and just kind of reflecting back. You know, I'm 46 now, but reflecting back when I was in my 20s, one of the things nobody ever told me was that of how you need to value quality over quantity, or that in your 20s you don't have to know everything.
But
Or-
you do know
or-
everything in your 20s.
Well, you think you do, but a lot of times what I was told growing up was that you needed to, because you're so young, you need to grind, you need to chase success, you need to set yourself up for your future. And so with that, in my mind, what that translated is to work hard, just to work hard, to try to make a lot of money, so that way that sets me up later on as I get older to be able to take care of myself. But what it didn't translate was that that you're gonna make mistakes, and that you really need to be careful, you know, especially when you're dealing with other people, because not everybody has good intentions.
Women and just friends alone.
Well, that's whether with friends, people you work with, or just people approaching you off the street, just always saying that they can help you, right? So I would say going it from all the mistakes that I made and some of the success that I had in my 20s, when I got into my 30s, I took a lot of those lessons, some of those hard lessons that I had in my 20s, and I applied it into my 30s. But even in my 30s, I still didn't have it all together. But I had some lessons that I've learned that helped me grow just that much more.
But I don't think it's at any age that you have everything together.
Right.
Because, I mean, we're steady growing and changing and everything else. I know in my 20s, I know I didn't have it together, but I had a family and I had to, make sure everything was working out right. So you had to go out there and do a job, like you said, make a paycheck and provide for your family. And you just keep moving up and trying to make more and more money and try to hopefully everything work out.
Yeah. I get it.
What about you, JeVaughn?
For somebody that's actively still in their 20s.
You 30 years old.
I'm not 30 years old. I got like
That beard is 60.
12 days left. Shut up. If my beard is 60 and your beard is what?
Good and clean. I got a full beard.
Because you old.
Healthy
goddamn.
beard. That's what it's
Old.
called.
All right,
Healthy.
don't be hating on this. All right? Somebody love it. The point is, getting out of my 20s coming up pretty soon. I think it's to kind of what you were saying, what we're not told. Everybody just tells you to work hard, handle your business, do what you got to do, but ain't nobody really prepare you for the struggles that you're really gonna have.
Right.
It's just told all the time it's gonna be hard. You gotta pay bills. It's like, okay, yeah, I mean that's cool. I get that. You got to spend money to live, but like, I feel we better prepare us for some of the things that we know that are going to come, the mistakes that we're going to make, you know, understanding that everybody has good intentions for you, or even some of these businesses, you know, I mean, my first car I bought, you know, they painted over and welded frame damage.
Yep.
And, you know, that's not something that I ever even thought to look for until I'm driving, I feel something's wrong with the car, and I look and the frame is split. Yeah. And the thing is that's the car that I spent all the money on to move my son around.
Right.
And that's not safe. So it's just, I wish, you know, I had better education than what I had about what I was stepping into, other than what I was told when I turned 18 was, welcome to the real world.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, I mean, that's cool that
But
you said that.
Listen anyway.
I would have listened on some stuff if you really showed the nitty gritty. I mean, maybe I wouldn't have. I don't know. I mean, I was, you know, 18, 19. But if you show a little bit more of the struggle that you're going to deal with, I think that is somewhat of a wake-up call instead of letting me just run in place. And it's just, you know, for a minute, they're like, oh, well, you going to learn. Well, how about you teach me a little bit more? Like, it was, my thing is like, I bring with my son this first year. One thing I was told, diapers was going to be expensive. Okay, duh. But how about you better prepare me for the other stuff that isn't obvious? We know diapers going to be expensive.
Like what?
The fact that I didn't sleep for like 7 months.
You should know that.
I didn't expect that.
Not on your schedule.
Nah, it wasn't even the baby. It was just the panic. I would just wake up in the middle of the night. Is he still breathing? Is he good? You know, it wasn't. I don't know. Maybe that was just my experience, but you know, I wasn't prepared for the worry. I was always going to be worried and making sure I'm doing, you know, the right thing or handling stuff the right way. I feel preparation could be better. It could be better instead of telling you the world is going to be shit. Mm-hmm. Tell me why. Show me why. Explain a little bit more.
Well, we didn't get handed the answers and questions like that. You know, you have to figure it out on your way. Huh? Yeah. I mean, that's how it is. Get thrown into the fire.
Shit. I'm going to throw mine in the fire.
So you just tell them everything?
I'm going to tell them everything.
Like what?
All of it. Anything I can think of. I just want him to have an easier ride than I had.
But you think he don't listen?
He might not.
Good
but at least I feel like I did my job. Just telling him, hey, it's hell, I don't feel like I'm doing my job. I feel like if I tell him what the hell is, I mean, let's take it for instance, like I was told, hey, you're supposed to have good credit. Okay, but nobody showed me how to have good credit.
Right.
Like, I was told I was supposed to have good credit. I didn't even understand credit. That was never explained to me. Now, you know, creeping into my 30s, I'm like, damn, I need good credit. Like, I can't buy nothing no more because credit ain't worth it. Exactly. And the thing, I wish I would have been showed, hey, you know, when you're getting ready to do this, or you want to do this, or you want to do that, you're going to need this, so don't do this. You know, first time I got a credit card, I was thinking somebody, you know, got a credit card. Like, people was like, well, okay, well, you going to fuck it up. I was like, how? I did fuck it up. Because, you know, I think most people do. But I think if I would have been told, you know, hey, don't go over 40%. Keep it low. Try not to let them hit you with no interest. Maybe I would have listened a little bit.
They hit you with that 29% interest.
Yeah, well, I think my first one was like 38.
38?
Yes. But, you know.
What
Man,
was
look,
you thinking?
I was 18, bruh. I wasn't thinking. That's the whole point. I was 18 as the first person that told me yes.
One of the things, one of the biggest things going from being an 18-year-old and then going into your 20s is, you know, you get used to having a lot of friends.
Man.
You know, coming out of high school, have a lot of friends, or even in college, have a lot of friends. But then once you step out, you start to see that your pool of friends start to shrink for a number of reasons. Maybe they done moved, they done got married, had kids, or whatever. Or the biggest thing is nobody tells you is that you guys start to have different beliefs. You know, whatever those beliefs are, whether it's political, which I have met some 20-year-olds that are very political, or just they start to, I guess, starting to see where they find themselves, and then have connect themselves to different associations and stuff like that, and found out real fast, like, sometimes you guys don't have anything in common no more. And it doesn't make it doesn't mean that's a bad thing. It's just life, right?
Yeah.
And so, being used to having like 20 people around you, as you start to go, you get in your 30s. Next thing you know, you can count on one hand how many close, really good, dependable friends you have. On one hand, or like my mom said, sometimes one hand, or even on one finger.
Yeah.
You know, nobody prepares you for that. But
Well, I mean, I didn't have a big circle of friends in high school. I had only maybe a handful of people I hung around with. I had a whole lot of associates.
yeah, right,
But
right.
just a handful of people.
But
I
even
hung
even those associates can shrink too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think for me in my 20s, which would somewhat, be different from y'all, is like we stopped talking and seeing each other. Well, physically. It was more of like with the social media aspect. I kind of always had tabs on, even if I didn't really talk to you or we weren't that cool, we friends on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
It was, we followed each other on Instagram, so I would see what you're doing. I would see how you moving around in the world, and like I said, a fight too in your 20s is watching people do more than you, and it looks like they're having more fun than you, more success than you, and I had to deal with a lot of that. I say Instagram will make you envious.
It does. Yeah.
It'll make you envious because you see stuff that you want and stuff that you can't obtain, and it's just not there in the cards for you maybe at this moment. But I've always seen everybody that I want to see per se, see how they doing because they're consistently posting, and it's like, all right, well, I'm still kind of tapped in your life a little bit, but we ain't talking. I ain't spoke to you in, at this point, 15, 20 years. But, I know where you're at. I know what you're doing. I know where you're working. I know how many kids you got. I know you got married, So I still see you, but not in that way where we type or talking in 7th period or whatever.
I think that, especially I think you said it like with social media, it does build this false sense of where you should be in your life, whether having the house, having the car, having the unrealistic woman, or just being in some, whatever the situation may be. Some of the things that's posted, everybody's not living like that.
Yeah.
There are people that live like that, but that's a small percentage. Whatever that number is, probably 5%, whatever people that actually have these, what they call it, it's not even, you can't even comprehend the type of lifestyle that people can have. So I think that for a 20-year-old to take a look at that, I think that kind of leads them on the wrong path, but then also creates a lot of stress for them.
Yep.
And then as they get older, what do they have to reference?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I guess I don't see social media as a pressure because I don't care. I don't. I mean, I see people on there doing well. I'm like, okay, great job. Y'all doing great. It doesn't. I mean, I just go on there to look at something funny and to get off. I don't care about if you're doing great. If you're doing great, great. If you're not doing great, I'm sorry. What can?
But think about how you view it, right? But
Yes,
think
because
about,
I didn't grow up in it.
right.
Yeah.
So
Same here, right? But to the
not.
average
Yes,
kid now, they
yeah.
take a look at that. That's their life, or
Yes.
so it seems.
Yes.
You're like, wow.
Yeah.
Anything that comes out on Instagram, you see it all over. People believe it like it's gospel.
Right, and you be like, oh, I don't believe
No.
it. I take it as a grain of salt. If I see something,
Yeah.
I'll be like, well, let me go and check over here, or go and check over here. And if I don't see it, well, then it was why. So,
Man, I try not to be on. I don't even know if it's with me. I mean, I think a couple of years back, I was kind of like, Instagram was irritating me, so I kind of got off of it because, I guess it was more the things like I was following. Like I would follow certain pages that had certain cars, and it's like, man, I'd really like to be able to do that or get that for myself. And it's like I said, I mean, I think it bothered me minorly, not to where it was like a big weight on me that was hindering my life, but I was just like, if this is irritating me every day that I'm sitting here opening up my phone looking at it, this is not healthy. So then I was like, I got to remove this because this ain't helping me get forward or get to that. It's making me envious. It's making me want, things that I can't obtain now. So I was like, hey, I got to let this out. I got to take this off my my daily regimen of stuff. So I don't know. I guess my issue is, with, like you said, us being in it, was I know we left high school at the same time. I know we are the same age. I know we've been walking the same, not necessarily the same path, but we're all walking towards the same goal at the same pace. And you see that person with the house, the car, the dog.
You don't know what they did to get it. You just see social media.
I get older.
You see a photo of them in front of a house. You don't know what they did to get the
No,
house.
yeah, and as I've gotten over, it's like, hey, they mama could have gave them that house.
Yeah.
They might have not worked for it. It's something that they could have fell into, but I can say early 20s, oh no, I was hot. I was hot because I just felt, I was doing something wrong. Now I'm like, hey, not that it's easy, and I thank all our veterans, but hey, you do 4 years, you can get a house.
Yeah.
And that a lot of the people I went to school with did it.
Yeah.
4 years, get that loan.
Yep.
Government pays for it pretty much.
Yep.
And it's like after I learned that stuff, then I guess I was kind of like, well, it's not easy, but it was a route, and they took that route. So it's like, no, okay, cool. You handling your business, you doing what you do, but I could tell you, I still remember 18, about 23. No, I hating. I was like, why he got that and I don't? I don't ever see him at work. I'm at work every day. I'm working overtime. I'm like, why he got this and I don't got it? Now knowing, okay, your daddy bought you that.
But here's the thing. I think it really, when it boils down to it, is being that young, it does require mentorship. Having mentors.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know about mentorship until I joined the military. I'll be honest, just didn't. And I had to ask the question, like, oh, okay, what am I supposed to do? They said, ask the question. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Right? You don't know what you don't know. So I became more of a vacuum, just listening and just asking, hey, you've done this before. What lessons have you learned? And one of the best piece of advice that was given to me by my mentor was, I may not be able to tell you what to do, but I can tell you what not to do.
Right.
That right there put everything in perspective. Stay away from this. Don't do this. Don't do that. As long as you don't do these things, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
And then and believe it or not, with like early 20s, I met guys, going to West Point, whatever, that they were already investing heavily. They had money in stocks and bonds and all that other stuff. I was like, what? How do you know to move your money and this and that? They were like, well, my dad been doing this. He taught me how to do it. And they were teaching each other how to do those things. And these guys were making some serious money. 24, have 75,000 in the bank. I was envious and wanted to know. So I learned by, listening to them, asking them questions, and kind of doing my own research on my own. But that, for me, didn't happen until a little later in my 20s, towards my 30s. And then by the time I got to my 30s, then I'm like, okay, I understand. And then, but I'm always looking back. I was like, man, I wish I would have done it earlier.
I tried to invest when I was in my 20s. I had saved up money and went to a brokerage house. Back then we didn't have where we could just sign on and use the app. And I went and talked to a person, and I was like, man, I want to invest in such and such. And they were like, You need about 10 grand. And I was like, 10 grand? I had a couple of hundred. I was
Right,
like, I
yeah.
just wanted to drop a couple of hundred. And they was like, nah, you need some money to invest. And after that, I stopped even thinking about it until years later when they have it on the app where it's nothing.
Well, see, and that's the thing. I think he did give you some advice, but I don't think he gave you the best advice.
No, he didn't.
Right? He said, okay, you got that, whatever amount of money. What you could do is take those couple of hundred and put it into this type of investment, and then just keep adding to.
Yeah.
Because then compound interest, it'll keep accruing until you actually have the money to start investing in something even bigger. But we don't get taught that kind of stuff.
No, it was just almost like sending me out the room.
Yeah.
He could have told me about penny stocks or something like that. Something small to start me off and to move me up. But it was like, nah, you don't got enough money. See you later.
Yeah.
And going back to something you were saying about your late 20s, I think there's a difference in the levels of, being in your 20s. I want to say about 27, 26, 27.
Mm-hmm.
You start to wake up a little bit.
Yes.
You start to wake up and you start to realize stuff like, well, crap. This ain't fun no more.
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting older. I got a family now.
Mm-hmm.
I want backyard. It's like your 20s is broken up into two.
Yeah.
You got that from 20 years old, 21. You finally start drinking legally, and you just ripping and running, and just nonstop. Body don't hurt yet. You got all the energy. You're drinking all you can, staying up as late as. I mean, for a minute, I swear I was sleeping from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. and would just be like, I'm good. Time to go to work.
I was just gonna say
Man,
that.
let me try to sleep for 4 hours now.
Yep.
Man, please. I'll be half dead 2 hours into the day. But
You're
it's
still in your 20s.
we established. I got like 12 days left.
Man, I didn't start sleeping full 8 hours until late 40s.
You tripping? you tripping?
Well,
I'm gonna get 8.
It's funny you say that because what you just said is right. As I got older towards 27, about 26, 27, all that partying, I could go from Tuesday all the way to Sunday, rest in between, and do it all over again with no problem. 4 hours of sleep, maybe a little less than that, go to work, still function.
Yes.
When I got till about 27, and then more responsibility started being put on my plate, I started thinking, I'm starting to get stressed out. And I'm not getting enough sleep. And I have stuff I need to prepare for work. And I just, and of course, on top of that, my body was feeling different.
Yep.
I was like, whoa, I ain't bouncing back like I used to.
Yep.
I'm kind of dragging into work now. So it was more of a mental, I guess, maturity starting to kick in, and I'm starting to prioritize what's important, right? Is it the ripping and running, or is it taking care of the stuff I need to do for work in order to sustain my lifestyle? Once I started looking at it like that, then I started to rearrange certain things. And then I started to become a little boring to people because it's like, oh, you the responsible guy. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
responsible.
Yeah. I like the money that I'm making because it's sustaining my lifestyle. I get to travel when I can. And not only that, but I have a job. I have a career. So unless I don't care about my career, then I can let that all go and be out on the street. But I wasn't willing to sacrifice that, and I think it's that process you go through. Yep.
I always been the responsible person.
Yep.
So,
But tell us about the superhumanness.
of what?
You said when you start getting tired.
In my 40s.
And he was ripping and
Look,
running until he was 40.
Listen, I've been having, when Angel got pregnant with Kisses, I had 3 jobs. I was working in the daytime at a factory, At night, I would work at Little Caesars. On the weekends, I would cut yards.
So do you think it was because you were working and not partying? While you
I
were
was
able to-
partying. We were still partying.
I'm like, okay, well, like on the weekends,
no,
but
no,
like,
get it
I
twisted.
didn't. Yeah, you
you was
said
working
working.
3 jobs and partying?
Yes.
Nah, you tripping.
but
I mean, this is. I had the energy to do that. I mean, it was just built in me. I am not playing. You can ask Angel about that.
know,
And
I
we
believe.
was still working and partying at the same time. As much as we worked, we still went out and partied, had a good time. But you know, it was years. I mean, I worked 2 jobs for decades. I mean, I don't remember up until maybe 10 years ago that I didn't have 2 jobs.
I don't think I ever did. I would say I had multiple jobs, but it was the same job. So it wasn't like you said, you know, you were doing this and then going doing the food. Like I worked for like multiple security companies, but I would never do like, okay, well, let me do security and, you know, Pizza Hut. It was like, I was never doing that, but I just did a lot of OT. Anytime they offered it, I was running with it.
you said something, I think that really kind of resonated with me. Being responsible. I've always been responsible,
Right.
and I've worked all the way since I was like 14. Even when you're not supposed to, I had side hustles,
Yeah,
you know.
but, you know, that
But I think that in college I worked 3 jobs. I had 3 jobs while I was going to school, paying bills and stuff like that. But it was the decisions I was making. You know what I mean? Made some reckless decisions. I was responsible, doing the things I needed to do, but in between, I wasn't making some of the right choices. You know, as a young person, it's like, oh crap, this decision could have messed up everything else I had going on, and I could have lost everything. But I think as I got older, I finally made a decision on how I want my life. What's important? What's more important to me than certain things? Could I live without that? I was like, yeah, I'm not missing out on nothing. It's the same thing. So I just slowly started to remove certain things because I just didn't feel it was kind of past me already. Going back to your point, just finally kind of just getting it, I guess, I ain't gonna say getting it together, but you just maturing.
Yeah. Eyes open.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I know I didn't. The reason I was working 3 jobs was to pay for my daughter to be born. So it wasn't something that I was like, okay, I need 3 jobs to hang out. No, I had 3 jobs to
You
pay
had
for
to.
her. And once I paid for her, I was like, okay, might as well keep doing it. I was doing it. I was making
Right,
money.
right.
Yeah.
And kid costs money now, so yeah. After that, I was like, okay, and just working that it was benefiting the family. Now I wish I would have saved more money. That would have helped out in the long run, but having kids, having a wife, stuff is being broken. You know, cars break down, you have to pay for it and everything else. I'd rather be tired than be struggling. So that's why I didn't care. I didn't care to not work 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Now it did hurt my family as not being there all the time, but it wasn't a time in their life that they can say that I missed a play, that I missed a basketball game, because I took time off the job to go and see that, to make sure I was there. Now, if I was off in the crowd and I'm half asleep, but I was still there.
I was there.
Yeah, I was still there. So I made time for them and made sure that we always had some father-daughter days.